In this video, I'm going to be discussing The Art of Seduction by Robert Greene. I'm going to give you just a brief overview, and hopefully by the end of the video you should be able to decide whether or not you want to purchase this book and what it has to offer. This book doesn't really have like chapters, it has parts. The first part of the book is basically just going over all the different like types of seducers, all the kind of, people you got to watch out for, I guess. The middle part is about the victims of seducers, like the 18 types of people that you can seduce and what each of them requires. And then the biggest and final part of the book talks about basically the entire process of seduction. I'm pretty sure it's separated into 4 different like steps or 4 different stages of the seduction, but that goes over like the entirety of like what you're going to need to do in order to seduce someone. This book goes in depth in the process of seduction. It's not like a how-to guide on how to get a girlfriend or how to get a boyfriend. You're getting into a lot when you're getting into this book, and probably some of the information in the book isn't maybe what you're exactly looking for. Like one interesting thing I noticed about this book was that it's not just about like seducing people, like getting a girl or a guy to like you. It's also how to seduce people socially and politically. So like, maybe instead of seducing a person, you want to seduce a crowd of people into believing in you or wanting to, vote for you or, whatever it is. Robert Greene has gotten some criticism on his other books for them like being malicious and, making people like bad and, just being manipulative. But I gotta say, this book definitely has some of the most sinister motives out of all of them. Some people are going to be going to this book like, I just want to get a girlfriend or a boyfriend, and then they go into it and start reading. It's like, use the sinister and demonic power of words to lead your victim to the woods so far that they will never be able to retreat. The entire process of seduction, though, he makes it clear in the end that it is a lighthearted process, and it's all for fun. And at the end of the day, it really shouldn't bring that much like harm to somebody. It's for men and women. I would like to clarify, it's not just a book on how to get a girl to fall in love with you, and it's not just a book on how to get a guy to fall in love with you. It's a mixture of both. It goes over what men like, it goes over what women like, and it goes over, what steps you need to take in pursuing whichever gender it is you want. The stories in this book are just as interesting as all of Robert Greene's stories in all of his books. It goes over, seductions all throughout history, the worst, the greatest. It also goes over the anti-seducer, which is traits that you don't want to have, traits that make people that repel people rather than draw them into you. So I actually think that that's extremely helpful too. Personally, I feel that some of the strategies in this book are a little like evil, I would say. He mentions like the devil, demonic, and like just all sorts of evil stuff. It's evil if you want it to be evil, and it's lighthearted if you want it to be lighthearted, really. It depends on what you want and what your end game is. Some people want a relationship, and some people just, want physical pleasure. So it really just depends on what kind of person you are. I would say out of all the books out there that I've looked into, this definitely is going to be one of the best books. Like if you genuinely are like getting this book to try and get a girlfriend or try and get a boyfriend, I mean, this isn't a bad way to start about that process. It definitely because he makes it clear that you can just get into a seduction process just for physical pleasures, but you can also lure people into like completely falling in love with you and, entering a relationship with them. Even though, according to Robert Greene, there are consequences to entering into relationships with people once you have seduced them. A lot of the stuff in this book is pretty self-explanatory, but the detail Robert Greene goes into is pretty helpful. Stuff like, maintain like a objective mystery about your character. Never let people get too close. Create an aura of desire around you. So or make yourself an object of desire. Stuff like that. Mystery, pull and push and pull, just basic strategies like that. I'm not going to get into too much detail about like how exactly the process works. I'm just telling you what's inside the book. Overall though, if you want to get this book because you want to get with somebody, I would say go ahead. This is probably your best shot when it comes to reading. You could just be yourself and stuff like that, but Robert Greene makes it very clear that being yourself and fate and your soulmate out there, none of that really exists. It's all kind of just like unconscious, like falling in love and stuff like that. But when you read this book, it becomes a conscious process. It's kind of like making fate instead of letting it happen to you, if that makes any sense. It's a good book though. I would recommend it for, the single guys out there, they don't have those natural looks, or the single girls out there too who don't have the looks on their side, physical attractiveness, so they need to dive down a more of a psychological level to get with somebody that they want. That's about it though, just trying to keep it quick and simple. Here's the book, I guess, if you want to see it up close. The back, sides. This is the inside of the book. It's very, lots of words, very wordy book. But yeah, that's about it. I hope you enjoyed this book review. I will probably have more coming. And yeah, thanks for watching, everyone. See you next time.